Right then, I'd like to think we all learned something in video 1, but now it's time to get into video 2. Welcome to episode 2. Today our topic is human basics. Before we get rolling on this whole thing, let's put a disclaimer out here. The game requires both human and zombie players. One side is not intrinsically superior to the other, and both you and I will need to do our best to discard all biases before we continue with this video series. For our purposes today, we will be discussing things from the human perspective. As discussed in video 1, humans have a range of efficacy of 5 to 30 feet, 25 foot of effective range. This video will discuss methodologies to close the 5-foot gap where zombie efficacy becomes superior to human efficacy, along with basics of human play styles, human strategy, and human tactics. Human players come in a number of loadout styles. I want to stress that monetary means does not dictate your ability to play humans versus zombies. Humans versus zombies can be completed with a bag of socks and a dream. It does not have to have a $450 brushless blaster. Do not become discouraged when you see individuals with superior loadouts. In my opinion, humans can be roughly grouped into 4 loadout profile types. The first is the skirmisher loadout profile. These are individuals who favor rapid gameplay, hit and run engagement with zombies. They may be sock ninjas, or they may have just gotten really into the Nightingale platform. Generally speaking, every human group likes to have a few skirmishers, and skirmishers are the backbone of any speed squad. You then have individuals like myself, the heavies of the world. Yes, I'm a large man, but the decision to be a heavy has very little to do with size. It has more to do with a certain disposition, a belief that through volume of fire and number of mags, all tags are possible. Heavies favor a more wander or mosey based play style, but in general are the backbone of any human hold because they brought the ammo for it. Next you have the tweeners. The tweeners are kind of, well, normally there's someone who's been around the game for a while, and for one reason or another kind of defies categorization. They may be a skirmisher who is kind of aging out of that role, or they may be a heavy who's realized they don't like carrying all that gear anymore. And finally, the last rough human grouping we'll discuss is the casual player. The casual player being someone who is not invested in the hobby, someone who has not spent incredible amounts of time or money getting into the hobby. They may be newer, or it may just be something they like to do on a Saturday. These people are often, we'll call it Walmart loaded. So what either is or was available on a store shelf, you see a lot of Percy's in the hands of a casual because it's a very convenient platform to play the game with relative ease. This is not to say that someone being casual is bad. They may be very good at the game. They may have a lot of experience. They just don't have one of these. So loadouts foster play styles. As alluded to in the skirmisher discussion, they tend to kind of gravitate towards speed squad style antics. Speed squads are really the stock and trade of the skirmisher. They tend to do as their name says and strike out with great speed and fervor, choosing flight over fight much more than your typical human would. The common loadouts for a speed squad are going to be skirmishers or a handful of tweeners who are kind of floating in the space in between a speed squad and a heavy. So often a tweener is kind of like the speed squad heavy. The next grouping of humans I'm going to call the Mosey mob. And a Mosey mob is really kind of the default human detachment. When you're at a large event and the large group of humans starts this game, right? They come walking out of the briefing room. That's a Mosey mob. It's a group of people, they're likely not very well led initially, but that doesn't mean that they won't become well led. It becomes a true Mosey mob when human leadership takes control and turns it into a more effective fighting unit, such as the Death Ball. Anyone can be in a Mosey mob. It kind of just really is everyone's default. Finally, the last standard human playstyle we'll be discussing in this video, I refer to as either a FAFO or a Hold My Beer. This is normally a veteran, someone who has heard of a specific side objective or a kind of pastime unique to your venue, such as the Athens Golden Mile or Dossier. A Hold My Beer is really an individualistic playstyle. Several people may take it up at the same time, where they strike off to do unconventional objectives or interface with the game in a way that the moderators may not have originally intended. Brain, Luke, Kevin, Derek, I'm really looking at all of you with this. Common loadout for this is a tweener because, again, they tend to be a bit more unusual in their playstyle. The human gameplay loop. As discussed in video 1, the human gameplay loop tends to be MacGuffin-based. There are various ways where a moderation team will give humans the impetus to take to the field and achieve the objective. And they tend to come in several ways. We're going to go over the 3 most common, which is first and foremost, the simplest, proceed to location. The moderation team will have another location on campus where you have to go to and return from. You may have to recover something at that location, which is the second most common gameplay MacGuffin-based thing, which is simply retrieve the object and bring it back to us. And finally, the third most common gameplay objective is a hold. Travel to the location. Hold the objective site, retrieve the objective item, and then return with the objective item to the briefing room. Generally speaking, the number of objectives per mission comes down to how far they also intend you to travel. Missions will be predicated on a time limit of some kind in order to keep gameplay flowing well. Therefore, they'll have calculated we want them to stay at this location for X number of minutes, and therefore, we need them to complete these objectives in this time. Human tactics. We're talking about human leadership specifically at this time. Human tactical decision-making is up against one problem at all times, which is that the default human tactic is panic. Do not panic. Panic is never and will never be the right decision. Panic is dangerous. It is dangerous tactically and it is dangerous physically. Panic gets people hurt. Panic fails objectives and panic ruins your day. Do not panic. If you want to be a leader, if you want other humans to respect you in the field, you cannot panic. Panic is tag. To quote Dune, fear is the mind killer. Panic is a representation of fear. There is nothing to fear from the zombie in the field. The zombie in the field is simply part of your objective. Panic is the single most dangerous thing you can do. Never, for any reason, panic. Let's talk about how you don't panic. Human play relies on a handful of well-used strategies being employed in various ways. First and foremost, we're going to talk about forming a line. On some level, HvZ is just Napoleonic combat. Humans will form a line of battle to engage a larger force of Zeds. The reason for forming a single line with support behind is as these humans deplete available ammo, these humans can take their place in line. The other crucial factor to remember in all human strategy is claim your space. This distance should never get closer. As the human team, you want to maintain this distance at all times. If the zombies close distance or wrap your flank, you're in trouble. However, as a human group, you can always transition your line to a death ball. So as you can see, the death ball is not dissimilar to the line. The difference is you have been forced to wrap your line. So this line is a continuous grouping of humans, and you imagine that humans are interchanging around this line as any human calls ammo out reloading. Zombies will be pushing. They will likely choose to push from multiple directions simultaneously or push from multiple directions intermittently in order to put you off your game. The objective of every death ball is to cease being the death ball. Assuming this is not a last stand style scenario where you know the game's ending anyway and it's really just time to get through it, the human death ball should be seeking an avenue of escape, a gap the zombies have left them. At which point you sort of amoebize the death ball and move out through that space in an orderly fashion, because we as humans do not panic. The death ball is kind of the last resort and most potent weapon in the arsenal for when things are looking this bad, because formation of the death ball removes most of the capability of your skirmishing players and your tweeners to get out there and do something about it. However, the death ball is an easy strategy for your casuals and your heavies to maintain. In the event that you are working some kind of two-phase strategy where you are sending a speed squad to complete an objective, the death ball is your distraction. The death ball is your friend. The death ball is my jam. All this said, the most important thing humans can do strategically or tactically to play the game well is to understand how the zombies play the game. The biggest thing humans can do to play well is understand the respawn timer, is understand that the zombies are under their own set of restrictions that enable your play to happen more smoothly. If zombies are on the twos, watch your watch. Know what time the zombies are coming up. If it is 11 a.m. on the dot and you have wiped these Zeds, take that channel, make that move, put them on the back foot. This is even more true of games with pursuit mechanics, where a zombie group of under 50%, let's say, is not allowed to pursue the humans. If you can put some distance on that zombie group in between their spawns, you can make a real move. HvZ Basicz Episode 2. We've covered the fact that human gameplay is crucial and foundational to the game, but it's not the only thing. that's crucial and foundational to the game. Humans do not exist without zombies. It's HvZ, not humans win zombies or something. You need to remember, as both human players and zombie players, that the other side is crucial and an important part of your fun. So treat them like human beings and not like disposable assets. Next video, we'll be discussing the other half of this equation, zombie play. Some basics, how to approach it, and what can make it fun for everyone. I'll see you next time.